Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Flack-Wetherald and I teach mindful improv thinking to heart-centered humans so that we can be the people we mean to be more consistently. I'm the author of The Funny Thing About Forgiveness, What Every Leader Needs to Know About Improv, Culture, and the World's Least Favorite F Word, and that's available on Amazon, and I hope you check it out. Today I want to share with you about confrontation and really just provide a new understanding of what confrontation is and how we can engage with it. And then I'm also going to share some quick tips for how you can handle confrontation more effectively and be who you mean to be in those vulnerable and intense moments. And as always, we'll be using mindful improv thinking to unpack this topic. Thanks for watching. So firstly, let's talk about the imagery and the language that we often use around confrontation. We talk about somebody erupting, we talk about an explosion or, the you-know-what hitting the fan, and we just have a lot of disgusting and violent imagery that we often use when we talk about confrontation. And it might sound silly, but subconsciously what we're doing is reaffirming to ourselves that confrontation is something to be afraid of and that it's something that's undesirable and not good. And, consciously, I think a lot of heart-centered people already know that that's not true and that confrontation is healthy and it's, kind of a necessary thing that must happen in order for relationships of any kind, professional, personal, anything, to be successful. But what I want to offer is that it's actually the most important part of a healthy relationship. It's where the culture of a relationship is determined. So it's not just sort of a necessary evil. It's something that's beautiful and helpful and the single most important determining factor in whether or not there is trust in a relationship. So first of all, what I want to do is share with you my definition of confrontation, and then I'm going to share a reframe analogy that has helped me and has helped a lot of people think differently about confrontation when they see it on the horizon. So first of all, my definition of confrontation is anytime someone is coming to the table, coming to the conversation, they're choosing to be vulnerable and they're expecting some form of resistance. So that's it. One person, doesn't have to be both people, doesn't have to be that they're angry with each other. One person is choosing to be vulnerable and they're expecting some kind of resistance. So let's leave that there. That's my definition of confrontation. And the second thing here is I want to offer you a new analogy for how to talk about it. So we don't want to keep talking about an explosion. We don't want to keep talking about the you-know-what hitting the fan. Instead, I want you to think about a piñata. A piñata is also something that's been hanging over our heads. It's the recipient of some focused and forceful momentum. It breaks open, and then gifts fall from the sky. And that is also what confrontation can be. So confrontation, something blows up or whatever, it breaks open, and then gifts fall from the sky. Confrontation is full of gifts. It's full of clarity on something that's broken that needs to be addressed. It's full of opportunity for closeness when someone's choosing to, say what they need and be vulnerable to set a boundary that's important to them or say what they really want, Confrontation is clarifying and helpful, and it is a bridge building process, where people really find each other and they can be authentic and be their real selves. So that's really beautiful. But let's make our analogy work a little bit harder, because let's say that you had never heard of a piñata before. This was your very first time to ever experience a piñata, and you're at a summer birthday party, and you walk in and you have your present for the birthday kid, and you see the papier-mâché donkey or papier-mâché creature of some kind, and you think, what a cool little thing. Look at all those fun colors. I never would have thought to make something like that. Isn't art such a gift to the world? And then a little while later, you see Grandma hoisting the thing up into a tree or off of a door frame, and you're thinking, okay, this family appreciates art a little bit differently than my family. No big deal. We're good to go. And then a little later, you see the birthday kid getting blindfolded and handed a baseball bat, and you see everyone standing around in a circle, and you're like, oh no, I'm not going to watch them destroy this work of art. And if you turn your eyes away and you're like, I refuse to be a part of this, this is awful, this is horrible. If you turn away in that moment, what are you not seeing? You don't see mom handing out the gift bags. You don't see the kids running up because they know what's coming, and so they're ready. You're not seeing any of that. So let's say that later on in the birthday party, you get a little curious. You want to see what happened over there. So you're walking around, and it's a cool summer birthday, so you're barefoot out in the yard, and you step on a cracked in half Jolly Rancher, or one of those little G.I. Joe guys with the parachute, or some other fun birthday prize that had come out of the piñata. You step on it in your bare feet. Does that feel like a treasure, or does that feel like a booby trap? The very same thing that could have felt like a treasure, that could have felt like just the thing that you were hoping for, that very same thing can feel damaging and painful if you don't know to look for it. And this is why I love this analogy so much, because this is exactly what happens in confrontation. If you know to be on the lookout for helpful gifts falling from the sky, you will find them. Confrontation will be what you let it be. So if you decide, this is going to be helpful, this is going to be clarifying, this is my opportunity to hear my scene partner, my improv word I'm always using, the person that you're working with, that you're in this relationship with. This is my opportunity to meet them when they're vulnerable, and show them that I'm listening, show them that I really care. There are going to be opportunities to find a way forward that you would not have had otherwise if you know to look for them in that moment. So the next time that you see confrontation percolating on the horizon, instead of bracing yourself and preparing for some kind of fight, preparing for something awful or dangerous, get your party hat on, get your gift bag ready, and allow yourself to let it be helpful, because it will be what you let it be. Lastly, I want to share a few quick tips based in mindful improv thinking for how you can honor yourself and how you can also honor your scene partner in those vulnerable moments of confrontation. If you use that, improv thinking about offering your perspective as a gift, whatever it is that you are bringing into the scene, share it like a gift. Imagine in your head, this is something that I'm offering because it's useful and it's good and it's helpful. And you treat it that way. You don't throw a gift at someone. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't want a diamond ring chucked at your face. So whatever it is that you're offering, you offer it like a gift. And that is a beautiful way to remind yourself, oh, my perspective, my needs, my boundaries, my ideas, they're good. They're good. It's a gift that I'm offering. And then that will also help in your presentation of those ideas. Number 2 is you have permission not to do this if you don't want to. So in improv, we have this idea of trusting the ensemble and knowing when you're not needed in a scene. They say that a good improviser knows when she or he is not needed on stage. So every time, it doesn't have to be you. Even if it's something that's important that does need to get said, there are other people also involved. There are other people speaking into the situation. And if you're not in a headspace or a heart space where you can be the one to do that conversation justice, to really, approach in a way that is full of compassion and accountability equally, if you're not there, it doesn't have to be you. It is safe to trust your scene partners. So that's the second tip that I want to offer. It doesn't have to be you. And then lastly, number 3, edit freely. So in improv, an edit is when one improviser runs across the front of the stage and that everybody leaves, that clears the stage to make room for the next scene. And those characters and themes that were being built and played upon in the last scene, they're not forgotten. We can always come back to them later. A perfectly timed callback is delicious. It's wonderful in improv. And it's the same for confrontation too. We tell ourselves this time scarcity story, like the whole thing needs to play out in this one conversation, that this is our one opportunity. And that's not true. That's really not true. So take your time. Silence is not an emergency. Let it play out how it needs to play out. And when you realize that you've both been as vulnerable as you have the emotional bandwidth to be right now, edit the scene. You have permission to edit freely. Confrontation is where we build trust. It's where we show each other that we're willing to be vulnerable, and it's where we show each other that we're willing to listen when someone else is being vulnerable. It is a critical, critical part of being a compassionate, heart-centered human. And so I hope that this video has equipped you to think differently about confrontation and maybe engage it just a little more like who you really are the next time you find yourself in that kind of a situation. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I hope that you'll hit the subscribe button and maybe share this video with a friend. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.